There are often misconceptions about HIV and other sexual transmitted diseases, but they are rarely ever true. My name's Deborah, and I'll be meeting Tareq, a man living with HIV here in Kuala Lumpur. We'll be diving into how HIV have affected his life and what his plans are for the future.
Okay. So Tareq, how did you first find out that you had HIV?
Well, it was 5 years ago, and it's not like I was falling sick. I was tired all the time. So I went to go get a blood test done. Went off to the island for 5 days with my best friend. Because I kind of knew what the results would be. So by the time I got back and I got the results, I was like, okay, so this is the reality now.
What was your first thought when you received the news that you were HIV positive?
Who's gonna want me now? When that news came out, I was like, oh, like, how am I gonna find love now?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first worry, because I take HIV as a turning point in my life. It wasn't easy the first 2 years. Like, I went through depression, really bad depression. But after dwelling in spirituality, it gave me a sense of hope to start loving myself, I guess. I'm a very happy person right now.
So your family and friends were supportive of you?
Yeah, they were very supportive in their own way. I think with family, it's a bit hard because I think they worry more, you know?
Yeah.
So, and when people worry, sometimes what comes out isn't necessarily love. It doesn't look like love, it looks more like anger. But then you realize that it is just worry. I found out who my really true friends were. Not discrediting those that I don't speak to anymore, but I guess I was partly responsible for that because there was a group of people who I was really close to, who I spent time with almost every day. And when I found out about the HIV, we kind of drifted. But I guess it's because they were worried or scared about how to talk to me, and I probably had this own stigmatization in my head, which is quite common among the HIV community. Loving self is most important, but it's also the most difficult thing, because I think a lot of us from the HIV community, I don't speak for all, but from what I know, is a lot of us come from really unpleasant backgrounds, childhoods, so that carries on forward, you know, and it probably is a factor of why it's hard to love ourselves, because maybe we've been told since young that we're not right, we're ugly, we're stupid, or you know, we were abused, anything like that. So trying to love yourself is a very difficult thing, but it's possible. At the start of living the life of someone with HIV, like being new to the whole thing, the stigma and discrimination that I face, for example, when I applied for a job at a hotel, they said things like I wasn't allowed to eat in the cafeteria because it was unhygienic, you know, things like that. And I don't think people realize that when they say certain things to another person, or when they stigmatize another person, the damage that it does. I truly went through a time where I was very depressed, emotionally depressed. I had suicidal thoughts. I thought I was unworthy. So people need to realize that we all have a responsibility of how we talk to one another, not just people living with HIV, but in general, because your words can really affect another person.
So a HIV community among you that supports each other as well?
There is. Most notably, we do have the Malaysian AIDS Council, which does their best to create awareness. We have places like the Pink Triangle, who does free testing, free counselling for the community. And there are also a lot of other organizations like Class, Jejaka, who do their part for the community. But I think collectively we need a stronger voice, you know, to be more heard, because being HIV is still a bit taboo in this country. People don't know the difference between HIV and AIDS. You see, like, AIDS is when basically your immune level has dropped so low that you are now, that your entire health system is being compromised. So AIDS is when basically the virus has gone full-blown, as they say, where most of the time you need to be hospitalized and stuff. But for those who are HIV positive, most of the time you can't even tell if that person is HIV positive.
They can just live normally.
Live a normal life. Like there's always new medication coming out. You can live a long and healthy life. I think that's the biggest misconception about the virus is that once you have it, your life is over, which is not the truth. Another huge misconception is that a lot of people think just by sitting next to someone with HIV, you can contract the virus, which is not true. I mean, you can share utensils, you can go in the same swimming pool, share clothes. You know, the only way the virus spreads is through sharing of needles, blood transfusion, and unprotected sex, you know. But I think a lot of people are still misinformed or unaware. Like the minute they hear HIV, they're just like,
stay away.
Yeah. Me personally, I grew up always reading about it or seeing it on TV in like the TV shows and stuff. But you know, it's one of those things where you think, oh, it will never happen to me. It's Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, to me it wasn't a big deal. But after being someone with HIV, then you realize when you're on the other end, suddenly you're like, oh wow, it is a big deal because not everyone was like me who was not faced by the thing. There are still a lot of people who are like, Malaysia in general has a really long way to go in terms of caring for people with HIV, to being more sensitive around the issue. But it's not an impossible goal, you know. Regardless of who you are, you will always be the target of someone's ignorance. You will always face stigma in some sense, whether it's based on the color of your skin, the way you look, where you're from, your social standings, or if you're HIV, you know, you will always be someone's target of ignorance. So I hope people with HIV start to pick their battles. If you are facing discrimination from a certain party, remove yourself from that situation and find your tribe. Find somewhere that you're accepted. It's not easy, like I struggled, but I believe it's possible. Like, I no longer care what other people think. You know, if you can't accept me for who I am or what I have, that's fine. Move along, life goes on, you know.
In terms of medical support, has the government supported you?
Yeah, the government is really good in that sense, whereby for those who first find out they're HIV positive, they normally go to the main hospitals like Sungai Buloh, and medication is free, it's subsidized basically for the first line. But if you go to private clinics, then you have to maybe pay the full amount or half amount depending on which clinic you go to.
So they actually give it for you for free for how long?
For free, it's well, the thing is, once you start HIV medication, it's for life.
Yeah.
So it's free, and if you follow the regime, if you follow the directions, then it's free. But if you stop taking the medication and you choose to go back on it, then they subsidize it by half. So you pay half and it's free half. If you break that chain again and you go on what they call the third line, then you have to fully pay for the cost of the medication.
As a HIV carrier, what has motivated you to move on?
I think when I was younger or growing up, I never really had like a goal in life. When I found out I was HIV positive, it kind of gave me a new lease on life. Like now I do have an end goal. You know, I one day wish to have my own center where I can help others, not only with HIV but those going through depression. I want to help them find their inner happiness again, you know. So I have an end goal now, you know. I want to start a family. I want to be able to open my own safe haven, my own center to help people with depression, to help people battling with mental health issues, battling with discrimination. I want to give them hope again. So yeah, that's how life is for me now. I'm full of hope. You know, it's not an easy journey, but not to discredit anyone else's journey. You know, everyone faces the same problems. Everyone has the same fears. But now I feel more excited to see what life will be.